11 minutes after 8, and we are delighted to have Dr. Jay Sordean in the studio this morning. He is a licensed natural medicine practitioner, 30-plus years. He's a qualified medical evaluator for the state of California, but he is also an author, the author of the book Super Brain, Maximize Your Brain Health for a Better Life, and something to really be thinking about because we hear so much about Alzheimer's and other brain dysfunction. Dr. Sordean, it's a pleasure to have you with us here today. Tell us about your book and about what you were trying to get folks to understand.
Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and Nelson Mandela are famous people who've had Alzheimer's. But you don't have to be famous to get Alzheimer's. 1 in 8 Americans will end up with Alzheimer's, and it's a tragedy for both that person as well as the families who have to take care of them.
And is there anything we can do to prevent the onset of Alzheimer's?
There are. So obesity, the first thing I called to John Belushi, he was a comedian, but Alzheimer's no joking matter. And fat, this is 5 pounds of fat.
Wow, this is, oh, you need to, this is interesting.
And obesity increases the chances of becoming with dementia, having dementia. And actually, the more fat you have, the smaller your brain becomes.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, what is the association there? Why does fat lead to the possibility of dementia?
Part of it can be because of the toxicity that's stored in fats that causes brain degeneration. So the second item we call the Prince Charles, and that has to do with teeth. If you have inflammation and infection in the teeth, it will eventually spread the sinuses and up into the brain and cause what's called leaky brain syndrome, which will damage the brain as well.
Wow.
And the third thing we call the Three Stooges, because the Three Stooges used to have a lot of antics, and they would hit each other, slapstick, yes. And people often trivialize those kind of injuries. And so actually the meninges which surround the brain can become damaged and cause a decrease in blood flow to the brain and cause dementia over time.
Wow.
This water bottle, if we go like this, that's the equivalent of a 15-mile-an-hour car crash. And that can cause an impact to the brain and cause the underlying causes and cumulative trauma that will lead to damage to the brain.
Oh, my goodness. Now, is there any hereditary effect with Alzheimer's? I mean, if you have someone in the family who has it, do you stand a greater chance of developing it as well?
There are some potential genetic influences, but the environment has a very, very strong impact on that. So I have something called the brain formula. B stands for blood circulation. You have to make sure the blood is circulating properly in the brain. You could use acupuncture. You could use neurologic relief center technique. There are a variety of things that can be used for. Remove toxins is the R. Getting toxins, heavy metals out of the body, and other chemicals that cause neurotoxicity. A stands for avoiding sugar. Diabetes is type 3. Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes, actually, and so sugar is strongly related with dementia and breakdown in the memory.
I would say what we need to do, because we've run out of time, is that you need to take a look at your book. Again, it's called Super Brain, Maximize Your Brain Health for a Better Life, because we know just how debilitating Alzheimer's can be, not only for the patient themselves, but for the families and caregivers.
That's very true.
Dr. Sordean, thank you so much for being with us this morning. Some wonderful information here. All right, stay with us. 14 after 8, and we'll be right back.